Hey everybody, this is Anthony for VR Game Rankings. Welcome to episode 51 of our daily vlog series. It is Tuesday, December 12th, and let's go ahead and dive right into the news. Okay, so the number one news story of the day is Fallout 4 VR. It's basically all that anybody is talking about. And my number one story is if you go to the Vive subreddit, and it's very similar like this on the Oculus subreddit as well. Basically, every single thread is Fallout 4 related. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and go to the Vive subreddit right now and give you guys a live breakdown of these Fallout 4 threads that we see. Okay, so the number one thread, Fallout 4 VR Steam Beta Update, Resolution Fix and Stability Improvements. That's the number one. Then you got another Steam Beta Update, Crystal Clear Graphics. That's the second one. Fallout 4 VR Blur Fix, Disable TAA via console. Scopes do not work in Fallout 4. Fallout 4 VR low resolution issue is because the release is bugged to run at native monitor res. Fallout is everything I ever wanted it to be. VR and people wanting perfection. I wonder if that's related to Fallout 4. Fallout 4 VR subreddit. Oh yeah, you know, this is, I'll get to that in just a second. Fallout 4 VR performance thread, fix for Fallout 4 VR blurriness. To everyone who has a negative opinion of Fallout 4 VR, I like Fallout 4 VR. You can play Far Harbor and Nuka World in VR. Fallout 4 pre-war town exploration. Bethesda looking into blurry issue. Fallout 4 VR looks absolutely horrid. No anti-aliasing, extremely blurry. Here's one non-Fallout 4 thread, Doom VFR blur fix. Fallout 4 VR mega thread, how to make Fallout 4 VR look really sharp, all known fixes. Fallout 4 VR resolution fix is now in Steam beta. Horizon tilted whenever I try. I'm guessing that's probably related. So basically every single thread, pretty much, there might be like one or two on this page are not Fallout related, but pretty much every single thread is Fallout related. So that's really all anybody is talking about right now is Fallout 4 VR, Fallout 4 VR. Now, speaking of the subreddit, one of the Vive Redditors did create a subreddit for Fallout 4 VR, and it is basically just r/FO4VR, all lowercase. And there are people in there. I went to this subreddit and checked it out, and people are there and they're talking all kinds of Fallout 4 issues. And so it would be nice if we could get everybody to just post Fallout 4 related stuff in this very specific subreddit. Then we could kind of clean up the other Reddits, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Fallout 4 VR all the time, and that's all we get, just overload of Fallout 4 VR. Although this is kind of the way it's going to be. It's kind of understandable that this is the way it's going to be. Obviously, anybody that was in the PlayStation VR subreddit at the time of Skyrim's launch, this is exactly how it was, and so it's kind of unrealistic to expect anything else to happen, because what happens a lot of times is people are going to jump into Fallout 4 VR and they're going to have some type of problem or issue. They're immediately going to go to the Vive subreddit. They're not going to look at anything. They're just going to quickly start typing up, how do I do this? How do I do that? And then they're going to pop it on there, and then that's how we just end up getting flooded. And it's kind of one of those situations, and it's unfortunate, but you know, we'll get over it after a while. So the big news basically is this Steam beta update to fix the blurriness. So what was going on here is that when you would launch Fallout 4 VR, somehow the game was set up where the resolution of your monitor was affecting the game itself, and so the resolution was being set based on your desktop resolution, and this caused a lot of blurriness for a lot of people. So Steam has a new beta update that will fix this, and from their Steam page, what it says is it fixes an issue that would affect the in-game resolution based on desktop resolution. Increased default application supersampling value from 1.0 to 1.4. Fixed an issue where players would be unable to use the world rotate functionality while commanding companions, and also additional stability improvements. So if you are having problems with this blurriness issue, you can opt into this Steam beta update, and it should solve a bunch of these problems. Now, one of the only downsides here is the super sampling issue. So it's taking it from just 1.0, which is really no super sampling whatsoever, and it's bumping it to 1.4. Now that's great if you got a GTX 1080 Ti, but what about the rest of us that don't? This is actually going to make the performance that much more difficult, and it's potentially going to cause more stutter and judder and other types of performance issues. Now, there is a way to get around this. There is a way to alter your super sampling to take it back to 1.0, or maybe even go down. Try 0.8, 0.7, something like that, to see if you can get a slight performance boost. And so that's obviously interesting. So what about myself personally? Have I played Fallout 4 VR? Yes, I have. So, okay, so yesterday I'll kind of take you guys through this scenario. Started downloading Fallout 4 VR not too long after I recorded my episode 50. And so started that download and then started working on editing on episode 50. And so it was downloading. Obviously, I have really slow internet, so it took a while. But at 4 p.m., I was ready to go. The entire game was completely downloaded and ready to go. And so I didn't actually jump into the game right at 4 p.m. because I was uploading episode 50. I was really late yesterday. Apologies as well for episode 50 being up a few hours later than I would like to have it up. Had some technical difficulties. I've actually had a number of technical difficulties lately with the video and audio. I don't know if you guys have noticed that on a few of the more recent episodes. I've tried to fix it as much as I could, and I think I actually discovered what my problem is. So hopefully going forward, I won't have problems anymore. So I'm hoping that I discovered what the key issue was, and I've now fixed that. So that's good. But I was delayed a little bit. I was late with the show, late with editing the show, late with uploading the show. So I didn't get to Fallout 4 VR right at 4 p.m. I kind of wanted to wait, get the show uploaded, get it onto YouTube, and then go ahead and dive into Fallout 4 VR. And I'll just go into my impressions of the game. So I am, of course, playing on a 970 graphics card. I have 8 gigs of RAM, and I have a really old i5 2500K CPU that is overclocked to about 4.3 gigahertz. Also, my 970 is overclocked pretty aggressively, so it's almost like I have a 980 at stock. It's pretty, because I have a pretty aggressive overclock on my 970. And so I started Fallout 4 VR, and man, in the very beginning, things were running beautifully well. It was almost like I had a tear in my eyes. I mean, this is a moment that I've been waiting for so long. Fallout 4, see, I was like this huge Fallout 3 guy. When Fallout 3 came out, this is, years and years and years ago. When Fallout 3 came out, I was just totally blown away by Fallout 3. One of my favorite video games of all time. I mean, I put it up there with like Super Mario World and Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. I mean, I put Fallout 3 up in that area with like the 10 best games of all time, and I was so into Fallout 3. Now, when Fallout 4 came out, this is back in my flat gaming days, okay, non-VR. When Fallout 4 came out, I was incredibly hyped for Fallout 4, but it didn't have the same kind of impact on me. And I think a big part of that was because, I experienced Fallout 3, and so that's where the big impact was. And so Fallout 4 was impressive, and it did a lot of really cool things, and I was blown away in a lot of aspects of it. But at the same time, it was basically just more Fallout 3, a little bit prettier, a little bit more dialed in, but maybe not with quite the vibe that I got from Fallout 3. That was a little bit disappointing. But So I played maybe 20 hours or so of the flat version of Fallout 4 when it came out. And I think I was playing that on my Xbox One at the time. And after about 20 or so hours, I ended up getting distracted with some other stuff, and I just stopped playing Fallout 4. And so now getting it on VR, obviously I was incredibly excited to get this VR version. I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time. Well over a year we've been waiting for this. It's the #1 most wanted game on VR Game Rankings. It's been the #1 most wanted game for an incredibly long period of time. So finally to get this game yesterday, it was kind of a dream come true. When I was first in there, the very first thing that you see is you see the guy with his wife, and he's looking at his bathroom mirror, and this is where you choose whether you're going to be male or female, and like if you're going to change what your character looks like and all of that sort of thing, and you name your character. And I had some real problems actually naming my character. You know, the part where the keyboard comes up on the screen, my character is named I. It's like 5 I's, and then I was finally able to get submit. Like, I just wanted to get into the game. I just want to get into the game. I want to get out into the open wasteland. So I was trying to do whatever I could just to get into the game. Because the very first time I tried Fallout 4 VR, I was in it for a little bit, and the game crashed. I actually had to start over. That was my very, very, very first experience. And so then the next time I got in there, and I was like, I'm just going to name this guy. I don't care if the name isn't right, because it was, when I was trying to do the letters, it was like really tweaking out on me. It was like super juddery and having a lot of problems. So anyway, I get past the naming of my character, and I get into the actual game, although you're not really in the game yet. You're in before the bomb drops. You know, you're in like this 1940 style house, and your wife is there, and your baby's in the other room, and your baby is crying, and you go over and you look at your baby, and you kind of you know, you say some words to your baby and calm them down a little bit, and you're talking to your wife, and is it Cogsworth? I think, yeah, Cogsworth is the robot, and you know, he's floating around, and you're talking to him, and then you go over by your TV, and then that's when you find out the news that, oh my God, this drama has happened. Oh, well, there also was that part where the guy knocks on the door, you know, the Vault Tech guy, and you sign up for the Vault Tech, and that's when you do the name and all that. So I got into all of that area. And when I was in that part, like especially when I went into the room to check on my baby, and when I came back out and the TV was there, and my wife was watching TV, and I'm kind of in this Leave It to Beaver kind of a situation there for a second, everything ran well. I thought it ran really well, and I thought everything looked good. Like when I got onto the Vive subreddit and heard all this blurriness stuff, I honestly didn't know what everybody was yapping about. I mean, obviously, it didn't look perfect for me, but again, I'm running this on a 970, so I really wasn't expecting it to look like super outstanding or anything. So when I was in that basic area right there, everything was running well, and I was like, oh my God, this seems to be running well on my 970. Have I dodged a major bullet here? And so as I got a little bit farther in, so obviously, then we find out that these bombs are dropping, and we have to get to the Vault Tech vault. And so, you know, you grab your wife, she grabs the baby, and you're heading to the vault. And as I was heading to the vault, and you're kind of walking towards the vault, and all these other people are kind of running along, I did start to notice some more performance issues kind of started to pop up for me. And then you get into the vault, you get sealed into the vault, and of course you see the situation that happens with your wife and then your baby. I mean, it's not really spoilers, because I mean, when did this game come out? It's been out for a while now, so everybody should know that basically your wife gets taken out, and you can't do nothing about it. You're locked inside this chamber, and then your baby is taken, and so you don't know where your baby is. Your wife is dead, and so then finally the vault thing opens up, and you get to come out of there. And then in the beginning, you're just kind of you're in the facility, right? And so you start seeing rad roaches. And at the very beginning, there is like a baton that you can pick up off the ground. Now, I had problems. I'm playing this on an Oculus Rift, and I know a lot of that is because I'm on an Oculus Rift. But one of the things that I had problems with is anytime, like even interacting with my baby, when the baby was in the crib, what it does is on the screen, it gives you this, there's like a circle with a thing, and it's like I couldn't really figure out which buttons am I really supposed to be pressing to activate these things. And so I kind of feel like it's the right thumbstick, like you push the right thumbstick down, but it's not just pushing the right thumbstick down, because sometimes I push the right thumbstick down and it doesn't activate anything. And then sometimes if I push the right thumbstick down, but I'm kind of moving the thumbstick forward maybe a little bit right as I click it, then it activates something. So it was really weird. And so when I was in the part where there's the rad roaches, when you first get in there and you're facing, you don't have any weapon and there's a baton on this table, I tried to grab the baton like a number of times, and it didn't grab the baton, and I'm just being totally attacked by these rad roaches. And at that point, I didn't even think about trying to hit them with my fist. Okay, and so then a little bit later on, I kind of just escaped that area. I just got the hell away from those rad roaches. And then I found a gun, and I was having some problems like actually getting the gun, actually getting the ammunition for the gun. And then, okay, I have the gun, and now it's like judder and stutter, and I'm like shooting these rad roaches, but it was really kind of a lot of performance issues started to kind of creep up there. But then things started to get better. So basically, I finally unlocked the vault, and I got out into the wasteland, and that's really where I wanted to be. And just walking around in the world of Fallout. Now, I've only played it in the daytime, and I've heard some talk about the nighttime. Upload VR has a review for this game, and they've reviewed it they gave it a 7 out of 10. So they didn't give it necessary, it didn't get an 8, it didn't get a 9, it didn't get no 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10. And one of the complaints, Tal Bevins, I believe, was the guy that did the review. And one of his complaints was nighttime doesn't look very good. And I actually have not experienced nighttime in Fallout 4 VR yet. I played this game probably like 2 full hours, I would say, yesterday. Maybe a little bit more, but just never got to a nighttime scenario yet at that point. So did not see the nighttime. He talked about the sky and the stars and how it didn't really look very right, and he was saying that Skyrim VR on PlayStation VR does a better job with the sky and with the clouds and the stars and stuff like that, and that Fallout 4 VR doesn't do a very good job, and that at nighttime it doesn't look good. Unfortunately, I can't comment on any of that because I didn't get to any of the nighttime areas, haven't seen any of that. So not sure about that, but basically, I get outside the vault. It's sunny, and I'm kind of walking around and exploring the area. And it was at this point in time where I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is so freaking incredible, because I was just going over to these empty cars, the cars, abandoned cars, and like a van, and the van doors are open and you can climb into the van, and you're looking at things that are left here, and you can use your thumbstick, and if you hit it the right way, you can grab ammo, or you can grab this or grab that, and you can grab like these notebooks or these letters or whatever that was in this van, and you're seeing a skeleton on the ground, and just the environment of it all, just the Fallout 4, just being able to go anywhere and explore anything. I really thought it was magical there for a minute. And so then I leave that area, and I'm kind of walking a little bit further down, and you see a stream, and I went to go check out the water, because Skyrim VR, there's something about the water in Skyrim VR. Whenever I'm near the water, I like to go over by the water, see the river or whatever stream it is, or a waterfall, and just kind of take a look at it and just kind of admire it. And so I did the same thing with Fallout 4. I saw this stream, went over, took a look at it to try to see how similar is this to Skyrim. Is this the same kind of thing? Is a little bit different? And as I'm playing all of this, I was having some minor performance issues, you know, a little bit of stutter, a little bit of like it wasn't completely smooth, it wasn't completely flawless, but I basically just kind of powered through it and kind of dealt with it. And so then I got to the gas station and dog meat, you know, I hooked up with dog meat, and dog meat is pretty good. I've heard from other people that dog meat was like way oversized and like, you know, double the size of a normal German Shepherd. But when I was there looking at him, he was pretty large, you know, he was larger than, you know, it was a pretty large German Shepherd, but I didn't really think that he was like double the size of a regular German Shepherd or something like that. The scale wasn't that off, in my opinion. So had dog meat there and was kind of exploring the gas station area, and I guess right about this point is when I ended up stopping the game. I had to go do something. Oh, actually, my son had a soccer game last night. I had to go to his soccer game, and so had to stop playing it, and got out of Fallout 4 VR. Didn't get a chance to get back in it later. So basically, I've barely scratched the surface. Just got out to the vault, just got to the gas station, just got dog meat, and it's just kind of been in that basic area right there. And you know, it's good and bad. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, certain parts of it were just so magical just to be in the world of Fallout, but then I was having a lot of these performance problems. Now, as far as the blurriness that everybody is talking about, you know, I mean, looking in the distance, yeah, there is some blurriness, but I didn't, like, it didn't stand out to me. Like I wasn't walking around Fallout 4 VR saying, oh my God, this looks absolutely horrid, this looks absolutely awful. I wasn't thinking that when I was in there. Now, was it picture perfect and absolute, like, was I playing like a flat monitor game but walking anywhere and it looked that clear? No, it wasn't like that. And especially off into the distance, things were a lot blurrier off into the distance. But I didn't have a major problem with it. I had some problems with like grabbing things, grabbing items, and managing my inventory. You know, one cool thing though is the Pip-Boy. I mean, when you turn your arm, the Pip-Boy when it's small, and then when the Pip-Boy gets huge and it's like this huge giant Pip-Boy, that looked crystal clear to me. That looked really good. I was really impressed with the Pip-Boy as far as that goes. So, you know, I mean, there's not a ton more to say here because I didn't really encounter too many enemies. The only enemies I've encountered in the whole game were rad roaches, and then that one part at the gas station when those guys come up out of the ground, you know, and you shoot those guys, and dog meat is battling them as well. That's the only enemy encounter I've had so far, so I haven't seen any of the other major enemies in Fallout 4. I haven't even experienced another like wastelander that's walking around, or some type of you know, wanderer with a gun. I haven't had any encounters like that yet. I did cross the bridge and I was heading over to where the first town is. Oh, I got to my house and I met Cogsworth, and I kind of was at my old house and exploring that area for a little while. I think there were some more there was those fly things that are flying around. I encountered those guys. And so I got to my old house and was starting to explore a little bit, and then that's kind of where I stopped. I was supposed to go across a bridge to Concord, I believe was the next mission that I had to do, and that's where I had to stop my game. So basically that's as far as I got in Fallout 4 VR, and then of course I did check the subreddits and I see everybody going crazy about this blurriness thing, but it didn't really affect me all that much. So I'm not sure how it's going to work as far as the Steam beta update that you can do for the fix, because when we first, for Oculus Rift gamers, we heard that you had to opt out of the Steam beta to get Fallout 4 to work. Now I got to opt back in it. I'm guessing that whatever was causing that problem has also been fixed as well. So I will be able to opt back in it. But I'm going to have to go into that one file and basically change it, because I don't want it to be at 1.4 super sampling. My 970, I just don't believe that's going to work. And so maybe what I'm going to do is I might experiment with putting it at like 0.7 or 0.8 and see if I can get a minor performance boost by actually downsampling rather than super sampling. So I'll have to try that and see how that works. Okay, so we've basically hit the 25-minute mark, and all I've talked about is Fallout 4 VR. There really aren't too many other news stories today. I'll just cover a couple of quick things. Okay, so Oculus Rift is $50 off on Amazon right now. You can get an Oculus Rift for $350 on Amazon. Don't know how long this deal is going to last, but if you missed out on the various Black Friday deals, this is another good option. And I really like to see all of these sales and all of these different things going on, because this is December, you know, this is Christmas time, and lots of families will make a big major purchase. And one of the things they'll do is they will say, you know, they'll decide, hey, we're going to buy an entire HTC Vive setup, and we're going to upgrade our computer. We're going to spend a couple $1,000 doing this, you know, or whatever it ends up costing. But it's a present to the entire family. Everybody's going to be able to use it. Everybody can play various VR games. Everybody can do Google Earth. Everybody can do some of these creative things, and you know, one of those type of deals. So to see these sales, it's a good thing. This is December. We're heading towards Christmas. This is kind of the last hurrah, and then a lot of people back off from big time purchases until they get closer into March, when they start getting tax returns. So this is the time to hit it with possible deals, lowering prices a little bit and trying to improve that value proposition. And so if you've been looking for an Oculus Rift, you can go to Amazon and grab that. Now, I don't believe this is a one-day deal like that HTC Vive deal was, but I don't know when this is actually going to expire. One other little tidbit of news today is Valkyrie is launching their winter update today. Now, in this winter update, it's basically going to provide three major things. It's going to provide custom matches, it's going to provide a spectator mode, and it will also provide a new map. And so with the custom matches, you're going to be able to set up lobbies with passcodes. You're going to be able to create private invites, and you're going to be able to customize the match in whichever type of way that you want to do that. Spectator mode is going to allow you to view a match from either these fixed hotspots, in various parts of where the battle is taking place. Basically, you can swap, you can switch from these different hotspots, or you can go with more of a third-person view that is trailing your ship, and you can kind of be anchored to a ship and go anywhere you want and watch the battle take place. The interesting thing about that is, of course, you know, this is CCP Games, and they have one of the best spectator modes I've ever seen with Spark. So hopefully this spectator mode will be kind of cool from that standpoint. And then there is a new map. There is a moon refinery map that has been added. So this, of course, is Valkyrie Warzone, you know, the update and all of that. And I actually have Valkyrie. I got it when I got my Rift, because I bought my Rift at Best Buy. And at the time I bought it at Best Buy was still giving a code for Valkyrie. And I played it, I believe, one time. I've played Valkyrie back on PlayStation VR, closer to the launch of PSVR. I had rented it from GameFly and was playing it for a little while. But I only played it one time on my Oculus Rift, and I actually ended up kind of getting some motion sickness after playing it for a while, and I haven't gone back into it. And this is a good opportunity for me to possibly go back into it and check out some of these improvements that have been added, maybe even try the spectator mode. I haven't tried any of the Warzone stuff, none of it. So I haven't been in there since all of that has happened. So could be a good excuse for me to get back in there and try it. All right, guys. I did have some other stuff I wanted to get into, but we've already hit the 29-minute mark. I don't want this to be a ridiculously long show, and I do, of course, have some editing and stuff to do to add to the show and get it uploaded. And of course, I need to get back into Fallout 4 VR. I want to see the nighttime. I want to kind of hear more of some of these complaints that everybody has, and see what my performance is like on day 2, and kind of see how that's going. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a show. This, of course, has been episode 51 of our daily vlog series for Tuesday, December 12th. And I, of course, will see everybody tomorrow. So have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.